Today, we're diving into a new blueprint for AI. It's an idea that promises to make AI think less like a calculator on steroids and, well, a lot more like us.
So let's get right into it. We've all seen what these AIs can do, right? They can write poetry, they can code, they can make these incredible images, but there's a catch. It feels like they hit this kind of invisible wall when it comes to real, honest-to-goodness reasoning.
And that's really the difference we're talking about here. It's the gap between just recognizing a pattern and actually thinking your way through a problem. Today's AI, it's a master pattern matcher, for sure, but the goal is something totally different. We want an AI that can tackle a complex puzzle, one that needs a real strategy, one that has to think in layers. And look, this isn't just my opinion. The researchers behind this new model say themselves. This shallowness they talk about, that's the real reason AIs hallucinate. You've seen this, right? When they just make stuff up with total confidence? It's because they're essentially playing a super advanced game of what word comes next. They're not truly getting it.
All right, so how do we fix this? How do we break through that wall? Well, that's where this new research comes in. A team has come up with a totally new design, and they're taking their inspiration from a pretty incredible source, biology itself.
And this is where it gets really cool. The AI's brain isn't just one big blob. Nope. It's split into two parts that work together. It's a lot like that famous idea of thinking fast and slow. You've got the fast thinker that handles all the nitty-gritty details, quick and reflexive. And then you have the slow thinker, which steps back, looks at the big picture, and figures out the overall strategy.
And it's this two-part system that unlocks what the researchers call deep reasoning. The key here is that it's not about just blurting out the first answer it comes up with. It's a process. It's about weighing different options, changing its mind, refining its approach, basically thinking it through until it lands on a solid conclusion.
Okay, so a smarter brain is great, but with more power, well, you need better guardrails. And this is probably the biggest innovation here. It's how they build a system that's not just smarter, but way safer. And it's all thanks to something called a holonic architecture.
So what on earth is that? Well, the idea comes straight from nature. Think about it. A cell in your body is its own little thing, right? A complete, self-governing unit. But it's also part of a tissue, and that tissue is part of an organ. Each part is both a whole and a part of something bigger. That's a holon, and this AI is built just like that, in nested layers. Every single piece is its own expert, but it's also constantly being checked and managed by the layer above it.
And this is how it all stacks up. There are 5 levels of control here. You start at the bottom with the basics, just processing data. The next level up is all about keeping the system stable. Then it gets really wild. The optimization layer actually evolves the AI, kind of like natural selection. Then the adaptive layer helps it learn how to reason better over time. And finally, right at the very top, you have this identity layer. That's the secret sauce. It's the final sanity check that stops the AI from just making things up.
Okay, so the theory is fantastic, right? A 2-part brain with a 5-layer safety net. But does it actually work? Let's look at the results, because the researchers really put this thing to the test.
First off, the big one, hallucinations. On text test, this new model made up 15% fewer facts. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but in the world of AI, that is a massive improvement. It shows that top-level sanity check is really working.
All right, next up, speed. They threw some really complex stuff at it. Think of things like mapping out chemical structures. And get this, the new model learned it all 3 times faster than the old models. That layered design just lets it chew through complex information way more efficiently.
But for me, this is the most impressive part. They gave it a bunch of really tough, abstract puzzles. The kind of thing that tests actual problem solving. The new, smaller model hit 45% accuracy. The bigger, older models, they were stuck down at 30%.
And here is the absolute kicker. It did all this while being tiny, only 7 million parameters. For perspective, the big commercial AIs have billions or even trillions. So it's not just smarter, it's doing more with way, way less. This isn't about brute force. It's about a smarter, more efficient design from the ground up.
So why does any of this matter outside of a research lab? Well, this is a huge deal. It has some really profound implications for how we use and, maybe more importantly, how we trust AI in our daily lives.
I mean, we're talking about applications where trust is everything. Think about a medical AI analyzing a scan. With this tech, it wouldn't just see a spot. It could reason through your entire medical history, and its own internal checks would stop it from making a wild guess. Or imagine a rescue robot that can adapt on the fly inside a collapsed building. This opens the door for AI that doesn't just crunch numbers, but can actually genuinely reason.
So yeah, this whole Holonomic architecture, it's a huge step toward an AI that can think deeply and safely. But it also leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? As these systems start to evolve and improve on their own, who gets to write their first rules? And how can we be sure those initial instructions will guide them towards a future that's good for all of us?